Welcome to the Formalize tutorial video about file upload elements. This was a long desired feature which finally was added recently in the last, in the last year to Formalize with the help of sponsors from the community. So that was very cool and excellent, and here it is at the bottom of the list right now, file upload box. So we can dive right in and let's imagine that our people citing these various animals are potentially going to add a photo of the animal if they manage to get one. So photo of the animal or animals would be our name, and options. So for file upload boxes, there are various types of elements that you may or may not want to permit uploading. There's this long list by default. You just separate the different file extensions by a comma. Now in the case of photos, we know that we really only care about those ones, most likely. Almost certainly JPEGs if they're coming out of a camera. But let's allow those four image types. Now there's an option should users be able to link directly to the files that are uploaded, and this is a useful option for if the information is private or intended to be secure in one way or the other. Basically you can obscure the direct link to the files. If a file exists on a web server somewhere and it's accessible, it has a URL that you could use to get to it, then somebody could get to it whether they're logged into your website or not, as long as they know the URL. So if the information is sensitive and you don't want to make it available just to anybody who might have the URL, then you can say no, and the default is no. It just is slightly more secure. In some cases it might not matter, or in some cases, depending on the setup of people's computers that are using your system, you might prefer them to actually link directly to the files rather than if you say no like this, the file's going to they'll be forced to download the file, and maybe depending on the type of file that's not appropriate. So, and the maximum file size in megabytes. 10 is certainly plenty for a photo. This may have interaction effects with maximum file size settings on your server as well. You may only be allowed to upload, say, 2 megabyte files on your server, and then that will take precedence over the 10 here. So that's about it for file uploads. It's very straightforward. Click Save. The element now exists in the form. It will be at the very bottom, and if we just reload the entry we've been using here, there it is, a photo of the animal. So we can choose a file, and there is one that we can use of a black-footed ferret, and we'll open that up. And there, it's chosen BFF is the file, and when we save, it's going to be uploaded. Now I noticed that this entry actually was a wild pig entry, so we'll just change that to a black-footed ferret entry. And yes, as soon as we click Save, part of what's submitted with this will be that file. So we can delete the file by clicking there if we wanted to not have it associated with this entry anymore. We can click on it. As I said before, that'll trigger a download, or if you depending on that security option, it may link you directly to the file. So as someone downloads it, then oh look, there it is. There's the black-footed ferret. Aren't they cute? It's a small resolution picture, so there's a pixelated black-footed ferret. It's a kind only found in imaginary conservation area photos and scenarios. So there we are. You can choose a different file to replace that one. As it says, replace this file with a new file, so pick one or not. You can delete this, you can download it, and if we say all done, then in the list of entries, well, again, new element, not in our list before, so let's add it. And there it is. There's BFF JPEG. And again, when we click it, it's going to cause a download again. So, file upload elements, very simple, neat feature. You can add multiple file upload elements to a form, and then people could upload 2 or 3 or however many, one photo for each or one file for each element that you're adding. Very exciting feature, and it's been created as part of that work that went into creating the file upload element earlier this year. We also made it possible basically to create your own custom elements for Formulize by writing essentially one PHP file. So there will be a later tutorial on that, how you write your own elements using just a single PHP file. You just have to declare things like, well, what are the options for the administrators? Are there any special rules for rendering it? Are there any special rules for how it shows up in the list? But you just basically declare all of that stuff in the one file, and then Formulize will then be able to interact with that element just the same as all the ones that we've been walking through in these tutorials. So, with that, if you've been following along in sequence, that I believe is the last particular video about elements. And future videos will look at saving views in this list and also altering the screens. Just customizing what we're seeing here so it's a little more streamlined and to our needs.